This is K2 News at 6 on your side.
And now they're looking for an off-ramp. That off-ramp makes Oregon unsafe.
This is brand new tonight at 6. Sex assault survivors and advocates blasting Oregon's solution to address a backlog of thousands of unclassified sex offenders in the state. The state has no idea how likely those people are to commit new sex crimes. Good evening. Thanks for joining us, everybody. I'm Steve Dunn.
I'm Deborah Knapp. K2 investigator Wright Gasaway is on your side tonight with the story. This affects thousands of sex offenders.
It does, and the parole board is under a legislative deadline. It must do risk assessments on about 12,500 sex offenders living, working, or going to school in Oregon by December 1st next year. The intention is to find out how likely these people are to commit new sex crimes. However, agency leaders say that's not possible to meet that deadline due to funding and staffing. It's putting forward two solutions instead. Let's start with Senate Bill 821. Simply removes the deadline. Critics say the state is trying to kick the can down the road. Senate Bill 820 is much more controversial. It actually limits the backlog to two groups of people. First, people under 35 years old as of next January. Second, people with 2 or more sex crime convictions. The parole board will continue to classify people getting out of prison or moving into Oregon as well. The state would not do risk assessments on anyone else in the unclassified category. Critics panned the parole board's solutions.
And I will tell you, if these bills pass this legislative session, we will never get oversight or power back over the sex offender registry and how it works.
And it just makes the problem go away. But the problem will always be there, and it will get worse, and it will get worse.
I cannot protect children if violent, high-risk offenders are allowed to attend my practices, to attend my games, to attend the pizza parties. It's just unacceptable.
The parole board says the backlog would shrink from about 12,500 people to about 3,700 people. It says research shows younger offenders and people with multiple convictions are the most dangerous. The parole board says even with a reduced backlog, it still likely will not meet the 2026 deadline. Here's board chairperson John Bailey testifying at the Capitol last week.
The board has never been funded to be able to meet that deadline. Not even a significant influx of resources at this point will allow us to meet that deadline. As always, the board is committed to focusing our resources on classifying the existing registrant population as quickly as we can with available resources, focusing on the populations who are more likely to be riskier for sexual recidivism.
Last year, lawmakers did not approve a request to give the parole board an additional $6 million that would, in part, have been used to address the backlog. The state says neither bill removes the requirement for anyone to register as a sex offender. This would just limit risk assessments for classification purposes. Deb?
Right, thank you. A K2 investigation previously found a level 3 sex offender in New York moved to Oregon and remained unclassified. Following our reporting, Republican Senator Cedric Hayden sponsored legislation to force the parole board to accept classification levels from other states. The bill has not been scheduled for a committee hearing. K2 will stay on your side through the session to see what lawmakers do. Do you have a story for Wright? You can email him at k2investigates@k2.com or leave a voicemail 503-231-4205.